Melissa, how are you?
Yes.
I've been gone.
I'm good, Kyle.
I've been gone. I've been out of town. I haven't talked to you in so long, Melissa. Oh, man. We've had some hiccups and some bumps and stuff like that, but we're here. It's a holiday weekend.
It is.
We are recording this on a Monday. Melissa, besides the stuff that we've done here for the podcast, how have you spent your holiday weekend?
Oh, we're recording on Monday instead of Sunday because I said I was doing something Sunday night that I wanted to tell you about on the podcast.
Indeed.
Well, how are you first?
I'm pretty good.
Say how you are and then I'll tell a story.
I'm pretty
First
good.
We say adjectives,
yes.
Then we tell stories.
Good, great, fantastic. I've been playing a lot of video games, including Star Wars Outlaws. That's how I've spent my weekend. So, yeah.
What's a Star Wars Outlaws? Are they cowboys? Like more cowboys than they usually are?
Essentially, it's the scoundrel type. It's the Han Solo type. Yeah. Yeah, this is a Star Wars game where you don't really run into any Jedi. There's no like force powers or anything like that. You're just
a
person with a gun. That's kind of it.
The all scumbag run of Star Wars.
Yes,
Got it.
I've been playing Sabak and all sorts of stuff. So it's good.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Last night I went to something that is a normal thing for other people to do. It's not a weird activity on its outset, but it's weird that I would go do it, which is that I took an extra ticket my brother had to go see Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Not a conventional Melissa type activity, but I'm trying to branch out here.
Sure. Tell me about your experience.
So I'm not a big concert goer overall. I go to a ton of movies. I go to a lot of live theater.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I love stagecraft and I love horror. So I should love a live metal show, even if I don't listen to metal. That sounds like exactly what I would like to look at.
Sure.
What is happening there on the stage. And my brother's like, I've got an extra ticket. We had a really good lawn seat package. Just take it. Just come with us.
Interesting.
I had a wonderful time. It truly did deliver on all of the stagecraft I wanted. There's multiple big puppets, big guys.
There you go.
Big devils, big ghouls, all of that. There's pyrotechnics. A guillotine comes out with some lady dressed as Marie Antoinette, and she fake chops off Alice Cooper's head and then waves around a very lifelike fake Alice Cooper head.
Wonderful.
The Marie Antoinette is also played by his wife, which is very sweet.
That's awesome.
He had a snake.
An actual
he has some
snake?
song called an actual snake, a real little slippery guy. We've all seen Britney Spears at the VMAs, like that snake performance.
Yeah.
It's like one of those. He has a song called Snakebite, I guess. You know way more Alice Cooper songs than you think you know.
Probably.
The man's had quite a prolific career. I was not familiar with this one, but I loved that a snake got to be there. Probably some local snake.
Nice. Not some like part of the crew.
Hollywood snake.
They drag him around on tour.
My brother was telling me, he's like, I don't think snakes travel well. I think he does get a new snake in every city he goes to. All the exotic pet shop owners are on notice when a metal show comes to town.
Hey, can we rent your snake for a metal concert?
Who's your most photogenic snake?
Right.
Your most docile and flashy looking snake.
Interesting. So I've been to a small amount of concerts. I'm also not really a concert goer per se. I've been to a few like hardcore shows, but they were always like my friend's band and maybe some other like local hardcore act. And those were a lot of fun. I've seen some interesting things at those for sure. But then I've also had the experience where I kind of tagged along with someone else to a show that they were excited for, they knew a lot about, and I didn't really know anything. There was one time I went to Wolf Trap, and got to see Bella Fleck and the Flecktones. Household name.
I do know that name. My dad has those CDs. Yes.
Really? A household name? There you go.
The Wilkinson household name, sure.
I was going to say, because I played bass guitar for a year and a half, so I heard his name come up, all of that stuff, because they're bass guitarist is fantastic. But that's really all I know. I can't really talk much more in depth about it. But I had a good time. The music was fantastic, but it's always just an interesting experience to be like, I don't know any of the music. I don't really know what to expect, but here I am.
For the openers, my brother and my nephew had to keep leaning over and telling me, this is their big song they're playing now. It's this one.
I gotcha.
Whereas with the other ones, I'm like, I know you close with School's Out for Summer. I know you close with Dracula. Those I can see coming.
Yeah.
I need help with the others.
That's fun, though. That's cool. So I bought tickets to something happening later on in the month as a date for Rachel and I. As I was watching Homicide: Life on the Street, which I'll talk about later on in the show. The version of Peacock that we have has a few commercials on it, and they will often play local commercials for wherever you are. And so I got a commercial for a concert series that was happening at the Broadway theater that we went to go see Wicked at. That not only are they playing Moulin Rouge, that's not the one we're going to, but that's the big one that's happening right now. But at the end of the month, there's an Avatar: The Last Airbender live in concert.
Yes.
So I was like, oh,
that's coming through our city too.
Yeah. And I think the next night is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse in concert.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
But I was like, we should do that. That'd be fun. Good date night.
I've always wanted to go to one of those. Later this year, my other brother got 2 tickets to see our local symphony play the score to The Muppet Christmas Carol.
Awesome.
And he's like, I just grabbed 2. So the other one might go to me. I don't know. We'll see.
That's fun though. Yeah, I've never been to anything like that where it is like music from this show or this video game. But I know those have kind of become fairly popular over the last, I don't know, decade or so. But
I love the concept. Got to go to more of them.
Yeah.
The symphony in March is doing Casino Royale.
Ooh.
And so I got to get my tickets for that soon.
That'd be
That's
good one.
a must do.
Indeed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Whatnauts Captain's Log number 280. My name is Kyle Springer. I am joined, as always, by Melissa Wilkinson.
Howdy, folks.
Melissa, what have you been watching? What have you been, any good movies?
Besides a live snake?
Yeah, besides a live snake.
I got it in Long Legs when she's sort of getting those weird visions. There is iconography. There's like a flashing image of just like a pit of snakes all writhing together.
Right.
I enjoyed Long Legs, but at the end I was disappointed that there weren't any actual snakes that showed up. It was just like the general horror imagery of what if there were snakes, but there aren't any.
It's the opposite.
And it made me realize.
I was gonna say it's the opposite of Sam Jackson in Snakes on a Plane, where it's like, I'm tired of this goddamn movie not having enough goddamn snakes.
Right. I was really looking forward to it, and I realized maybe I really like snakes. So I was excited when a snake showed up on stage. Thank you,
fun.
Alice Cooper. I've been to the theater a couple times, as I often do. I went to see Blink twice, the new directorial debut of Zoe Kravitz. A very dark film, but a very impressive film. She's got a real eye for color and blocking and what to do with the camera. It's a terrific looking film.
That's interesting.
Among many other attributes.
I don't think it's ringing a bell for me. It's Blink twice.
Yes. It's about this girl who meets a celebrity at a party, and he invites her to his party island, and then things go wrong at the party island.
Huh. I don't think I knew about this one.
It's good.
Interesting. Okay. Horrifying. Blink twice. Twist. Ruined the movie. So says Joe Hoffner on the Daily Beast. I don't know what that means, but all right. Cool.
You may be better knowing nothing about it besides what I've just told you going into the movie. I think the movie's very well done.
Sure.
But after having seen the trailer several times, I think
the trailer
there's
might give away a little bit.
No, just that there's metaphors set up very early on in the movie, and I can tell immediately what they are metaphors for because I just have the context of the trailer. And that would have been more of a light bulb moment for me later on in the film if I did not know immediately at the offset. I get what that means. That's setting up this thing for later.
I gotcha.
There's no spoilers in the trailer, but I can tell how this would be a terrific film to watch without having seen a trailer at all.
Yeah.
But this is the sacrifice I make for seeing everything in the theater all the time. I see every trailer. I see them very many times.
Right? Yeah. That's interesting. I'll have to see if that one's playing near us or something.
Gnarly, but stylish.
Okay. Stylish.
Speaking of another movie that's gnarly but stylish, I went to the Alamo Drafthouse and saw their remastered complete cut of Caligula.
Ooh. Talk to me about that one.
A beautiful film. I mean, it's everything that you'd expect from Caligula. It's truly depraved, but truly decadent. It's such a sumptuous looking film. The whole thing has this sort of gauziness to it. Incredible sets, like massive, multi-layered, multi-tier sets, both for the film and sort of diegetically within the world of the film. Like, to get rid of some enemies, Caligula has like a big wall. You know, in like in Star Wars or something, you're in the little room and then the walls close in. It's like he goes to not the Coliseum, but a Coliseum, an arena. He like buries an enemy in the dirt up to his neck, so he's just a head poking out. And then this like big murder wall, like with soldiers on it, and also just like guys holding fans, just scuttles towards him. And it's got like a lawnmower blade or something like that, just sort of spinning around. And the guy's buried in the dirt up to his neck. And he's like, that's going to come and chop off my head. Yeah. And I'm like, why'd you build a whole wall that moves? You could have just chopped his head off.
Right. You
saved the money.
You could have just bought a lawnmower, dude. Like, really, you didn't need to do all of this.
But such a skillful movie, really terrific performances.
That's cool.
A lot more nuance than you would expect. I think the movie knows when, and it's 3 hours long. And a movie that long has a lot more space to have different tones in it and to let them breathe and let them flow from one into the other without it being jarring.
Sure.
Like, it lets you kind of live in the wackiness of like a big orgy scene, but then also have times when Caligula is being like sincerely very terrifying.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll let you revel in it, and we will also have you fear it. It's all here. A wonderful combination of symmetrical and asymmetrical shots.
Cool.
I love both. This had a really wonderful balance of both.
That's awesome. So,
I check it out. And there's a movie that I don't know if this even got a theatrical release earlier this year. By the time I heard about it, it was only on VOD. And I caught up to it because it's a summer movie. And I knew I needed to see it by the end of the summer. It's a movie called Snack Shack.
yeah, I also don't remember this one. I don't think I've seen this.
This is about two teenage boys in Nebraska City in 1991, just doing schemes. The movie opens with these two boys. They're both wearing like oversized neon t-shirts because it's the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
They're at an off-track betting parlor. They're both smoking. They're like frantically laying down bets while there's this really frenetic, like Birdman style drum score behind them.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
They win all this money and then they immediately have to book it out of the betting parlor because they've snuck away from a school field trip to the zoo. And they have to like run back up to the bus just in time. And they're like, oh, we took the train around the zoo and we got stuck. That's where we've been all day. And their scheme for the summer is that they are going to, at their local pool, there's a little snack shack.
Mm-hmm.
And you can like put in a bid to the city council to say, I want to run the snack shack this year. So the boys do that. And then the movie's about them cleaning up at the snack shack.
Interesting. It feels like a mix between Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Phineas and Ferb.
It's a lot more teen coming of age drama than I expected or would have wanted. There's nothing wrong with those scenes. I think they're very sincere, well done scenes of like, I have a crush on this girl. My friend also has a crush on this girl.
Mm-hmm.
I'm uncertain what my future is in life. Where do I go? What's my social circle? It's very good at that. But all I want is the smoking and the scheming.
Right.
Like parts of this movie are just an 11 out of 10 for me. And the other stuff's good too, but I wish everything was
right.
Schemes on schemes on schemes.
Interesting. Yeah, I hadn't heard of that one. I haven't even seen a trailer for that one or Blink twice. So
How you missed Blink twice, but yeah, Snack Shack I heard one thing about on a podcast once, and I've just saved it in my notes app the whole summer, and finally I got to it. Definitely worth the price of admission. Rent that thing for $6.
Cool.
Buy it. I should have bought it.
Good stuff. So like I mentioned earlier, I've been watching Homicide: Life on the Street. This is
what led you to this one? Because this is a show from like the 80s or 90s. This is an old crime procedural.
Yeah. So this is available on Peacock right now, and it is the first time I think in like 17 years that it's been available on streaming. Which is part of like where the buzz around this recently has been of like it like in a world where most things are on some kind of streaming service, this has not been available for so long. And yeah, it's a crime show. It's not really a police procedural, but it's not really just a straight up crime show. It's not a detective show per se, but it is all of these things mixed in. It's interesting because it is based off of a book, but it is a fictionalization of the book that this, I believe he was a cop turned journalist or something like that, but essentially he when he was a journalist was embedded with the Baltimore Police Department for an entire year, and just got to like write about all of his experiences and the cases that he got to see, and stuff like that. And so this show is a fictionalization of those experiences. But the guy that wrote the book also helped to write for the show. which is interesting. And then that same book also was one of the major inspirations for The Wire, which is one of my favorite television shows. So this had that like background pedigree that I was like, ooh, this sounds like it'd be up my alley. This sounds really nice. The first two seasons, the first season is only 9 episodes. The second one is only 4 episodes. Then it starts getting into like 22 episodes seasons after that,
which is much more normal for the time. I've never heard of an American show having a 4-episode run at that time.
I'm not sure if that was like, was season 1 and 2 actually combined back then? Was there some weird break in between? Did something happen? I don't know. But I've seen the first 2 seasons. Now, I really like it. This show is ahead of its time. It's great. There's all sorts of actors in this that you will recognize. There's Andre Braugher, I believe is how you say his last name. More recently was in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, was the chief on that, I believe. But then, like, you see all sorts of character actors, but then there's characters that I haven't even gotten to yet that eventually show up in the show. Giancarlo Esposito shows up. Vincent D'Onofrio, Elijah Wood, James Earl Jones, Chris Rock, Alfre Woodard. I haven't met them yet in the show. I don't know if they have like a recurring character, if it's just like a one-off kind of thing. But I got to the season 2 finale, and the murder that happens in that episode is the wife of Robin Williams's character. Robin Williams shows up for like a single episode in this very serious, kind of sad role. And his son is played by a extremely young Jake Gyllenhaal. Like, like he has to be like 13 in this. He's a baby. And that was wild to see. That was like, why is Robin Williams in this? What is happening here? But it's been really, really good. I say that it's not really a police procedural, even though it is, because it's not a crime of the week. It's not a murder of the week. It is a lot more about the cops themselves and their personal lives. Like, there's one story about one of the cops who's out of a bad marriage. He's just trying to like move on and find a date and like not be nervous about it. Stuff like that. There's an entire episode which takes place almost entirely inside the precinct when their air conditioning stops working. And so it's them just in there suffering like the entire time. And then to compound it and make it worse, they find a baby in the basement of the precinct, just left there. And so now they have to, like, on top of all just like suffering from how hot it is, they're like, what do we do with this baby? Like, what is happening? What is going on? But then it has like just this great moment at the end when the police chief at the end is like, hey guys, meet me up in the roof in 2 minutes. I have a surprise. And the surprise is, I have a hose and some water. Like, I'm just hosing you all down. We're having
wet
like
detectives.
Like a pool party without the pool on the roof. And it's fun.
You've heard of wet bandits,
right?
Now it's time for wet detectives.
Exactly. But it's fun because like the characters, like in this very serious crime drama, like they're having fun, they're happy, they're like they're taking their shirts off, they're stripping down to their underwear and just like running around in the water, and it's just like, oh, this is fun, this is nice, I like
That's good.
This is cool. So yeah, it's I think 7 seasons total, so I'm excited for my long journey with this one.
Yeah. This is a show I've always heard about
Mhm.
in very high regard. You know, I used to be the nerd who read TV Guide every week
Yeah.
when I was a child. Which very few other children were up to. The primary thing I knew about this show is that Richard Belzer, playing Detective John Munch,
Mhm.
has had cameos in character on a number of other TV shows.
Oh, interesting.
Some of which are places a detective would show up, like another crime procedural. Some of which are not.
Right.
According to Wikipedia, John Munch has been credited 459 times on a total of 9 different TV shows across 5 different networks.
That's amazing.
Including Law and Order, The X-Files, The Beat, Law and Order Trial by Jury, Arrested Development, The Wire, 30 Rock, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, and American Dad.
What the hell? That's kind of wild.
Do you know the end of St. Elsewhere where they're all in a snow globe, right?
No.
Oh, you do not know this. Okay.
I mean, I've
Elsewhere.
I've seen like a similar trope where it turns out we're in a snow globe or we're trapped in one or something.
It all comes from this. St. Elsewhere was just a very normal drama TV show from the 80s set in a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a medical drama, but maybe also followed a lot of the characters' personal lives. And in the series finale, it's revealed, like, one of the characters goes home. They have a special needs child who is fixated on a snow globe. And it's like a souvenir snow globe for the hospital.
Sure. Yeah.
No, I think I've never actually seen this. I've just had it described to me. But like, or like it's revealed that there is no St. Elsewhere. It's just this kid staring at a snow globe that's a souvenir for some hospital. Again, a weird item to exist.
Right.
But,
yeah.
like, he's making up all the stories. This is inside his head. He invented every character from St. Elsewhere.
Interesting.
Is the implication at the very end of an otherwise just regular show. And so this kid is named Tommy Westfall.
Mm-hmm.
And because there were cameos and crossovers like the Detective Munch thing in St. Elsewhere, there's a whole universe you can draw of. If Tommy Westphall made up St. Elsewhere, he also made up all of these other things. Like, there's a character on the X-Files called the Cigarette Smoking Man.
Sure.
He smokes a brand of fictional cigarettes called Morley's. You can which is just like a stand. It's like you can get it from a prop store in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You go to the prop warehouse on whatever studio lot and you're like, I need cigarettes. And they're like, here's our stock fake cigarette brand. And it's perhaps most widely known as what the Cigarette Smoking Man smokes. But because it's been in all of these other shows, including St. Elsewhere, I saw like a big map once. Like, if this kid made up St. Elsewhere and then he made up these cigarettes, then he made up the X-Files.
And if he made up the X-Files and Detective Munch is in that, then Homicide: Life on the Street is in the same world. And
he made this up. He made up the street and all the homicides.
That's kind of wild.
I don't know. I'd have to check back in on it. I did a deep dive in this like 15 years ago or something.
Now
I'd
that
love
you
to see
kind
if
of
there was
mention
additional.
I think you may have mentioned it a long time ago on the Captain's log. But yeah, it sounds familiar now that you bring it up, that there's this big connected thing all stemming from a snow globe.
I'd love to see if there are new additions to that map. If somehow Succession is also in this kid's brain. Did it just stop at a certain point, or
Updated
are we still
2024? Right? Yeah. That's funny. That's cool. Yeah, it's the show is interesting also, not just because of like it being like loosely based on this book about real events and stuff like that. But the way, at least the first 2 seasons are shot and filmed, they have a really interesting editing style where it's like you can tell that there's multiple takes going on, but they edit them seamlessly together in a way that maybe a character will change position like in the blink of an eye, or will be like standing somewhere else. It's like obviously they did not get the blocking exactly right, or it's sometimes used for a dramatic effect, like is especially like it's almost like a you've probably seen it in some like time lapse kind of montages where instead of speeding it up, they just like cut out sections of it. So it looks like the character is here and then he's all of a sudden on that side, right? They will do stuff like that, but like smaller, right? It's not like there's some magical realism that's happening. But it's interesting. Hard to explain exactly what it is. But yeah, it's neat. I'm enjoying it a lot. I highly recommend it. Recommend it indeed.
Oh, dang. I found a Tommy Westphall Universe page.
Hasn't been updated.
There's a list of shows. Oh, last update is August 2016. Well, what is the last show that was added? Let's see. The most recent shows I can see on this list are the Disney Channel show Austin and Ally.
Do they give
Castle.
Reasons?
Not yet. Oh, Legends of Tomorrow is apparently part of this, as is Degrassi, The Next Class, Fuller House.
I want to know the reasons.
I'll have to do this is a whole bonus episode.
Right.
Subscribe to us on Patreon, and I will give you a whole rundown of Tommy Westphall. It's just a list so far. None of these titles are linked at all. Glee is in here. Both versions of Hawaii Five-0.
So weird. Huh.
Okay, we're done. This is gonna take me all day. I gotta stop.
Anyways, let's take a quick break for some housekeeping, and when we come back, we got I'll tell you a little bit about my trip to Tampa. We got a pop culture lightning round. Melissa, you had some maddening experience in the office, so we'll get to all of that and more when we come back. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for checking out this podcast. We hope you're enjoying it. If you didn't know, we make multiple different shows here at the Whatnauts, and a lot of hard work goes into making them, so we would love it if you check them all out. But none of this is possible without your support. Head over to patreon.com/thewhatnauts and you can get access to over 40 hours of exclusive content, including our Patreon first podcast, The Pilots Club, when you sign up at our $3 tier. Of course, there is a free version of the Pilots Club available, but episodes are exclusive to our Patreon for 2 years before they hit the free feeds. If you're interested in buying merch, we have shirts, hoodies, mugs, and more for sale over at thewhatnauts.com/store. Another great way to help us out is by subscribing and leaving a nice rating and review on your podcasting app of choice. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel for video versions of the show, trailer reactions, and live streams. And lastly, you can always find out more information about the shows we make on our website, thewhatnauts.com. All right, we are back. Once again, a big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. It means a ton. Over on the Pilots Club, this past month, we talked about Homecoming. This month, we're going to be talking about the 2-part pilot episode of Lost. One of Melissa and I's favorite shows of all time. It's also the 20th anniversary. So, yeah. lots of good stuff to reminisce over with that one. In fact, we will be recording it right after this. So be on the lookout for that in the near future. But over on the free version of the Pilots Club, last month we did Small Wonder. This month we're gonna be releasing our episode on The Shield. Another great crime show from what I hear. I've only seen the pilot so far.
Right.
But one that I do eventually want to go back to.
Every major crime drama of the past, I was going to say of the past 50 years, and then I'm like, wait a minute, that's pretty much all of television. You're going to watch all of them, right? You're going to go all the way back to Barney Miller?
No. Not that far. No, I can't necessarily get into the like Law and Orders or the like special victims unit stuff. All of that stuff. ASI can't really get into it as much. I have nostalgia for that original ASI, but I don't know. Something about the like every like crime of the week for 20 something seasons is just a little much. So I don't know, but go check out our episode on The Shield. Let's see, right here on the Captain's Log, last episode, we got to round up some of the announcements and things happening out of D23. Melissa, you broke down some of the theme park news that was coming to the Disney theme parks around the world. Over on the review show, our most recent episode is still 299, which is The Prisoner, which was a television show from the 60s about a spy who quits his job abruptly and gets sent to this like mysterious village that he's not sure exactly where it is. All kinds of weird, bizarre shenanigans happening at that island. And they're just a bonkers ending.
Kyle, sometimes I feel like you overuse the word shenanigans. But I think
shenanigans is a good word.
Right. I think you're right in this case. When he tries to put himself in a crate and mail himself out of the village, but then he winds up just right back there, that is a shenanigan.
Yeah, it absolutely works for The Prisoner. We had a blast with that one. We'll talk a little bit more about it in just a sec here, but we recorded episode 300, except our mics didn't record. Melissa's mic recorded. Mine did. So I have video of everything just silent. Melissa has her normal backup, which I use for all of our videos. The whole thing is a wash, which really sucks. But we'll brainstorm some more here about what we can do for episode 300 of the review show. So keep an eye out for that. Over on the Reactor Core, our latest thing is still our Deadpool and Wolverine spoiler cast. I think this might be the last time I mention it, because that came out like, a month ago now-ish? Start of August is when it came out. So
6 weeks or so.
Something like that.
We're gonna have to figure out what's next on our docket.
Yeah.
Agatha,
yes.
Penguin, those are soon.
Yeah, those are both mid-September. One starts on the 18th, one starts on the 19th. So
crowded.
Right, yeah. So we will figure all that stuff out. Be on the lookout down the road for that as well. But that's enough housekeeping. Let's get back over here. So yeah, Melissa, we recorded episode 300 of the review show, and it did not work out. I am so bummed.
I tried to console you earlier by saying we didn't lose an episode. We just accidentally had a private party for just you and me.
Yeah, just a little corporate event that we had here.
A summit.
We had a great time. Maybe we can figure out how to reuse those lists that we made.
I still have mine. They're all written down.
Same,
I got them.
Same. We just feel like it wouldn't really be the same for us to try and do the same episode again. which I've had that happen in my journey as a podcaster, in anyone's journey as a podcaster. Things like this happen. They happen a little more often when you're first starting, because you're getting used to the technology,
not
the
when
workflow,
you're 9 years
all of
in.
that stuff. Not as much when you're like 9, almost 10 years in, but it still happens even that far in, and it's just, it sucks so bad when it happens. There was one time, I probably told you this story of this at one point, where we recorded the entire episode. Turns out it didn't work. It didn't record, same kind of thing. So we re-recorded the episode, and that worked for most of it, except somehow my audio didn't record. Everyone else's did, but mine did not. And at the time, we weren't doing video yet. So I was like, well, I've done this podcast twice. I know what I was saying in all of these things. So I went on my own and re-recorded my dialogue with the podcast playing in my ears to like try and match it all up again. And it worked, but it was a nightmare. But unfortunately, we cannot do that with this one. But you already had a pretty great idea for something we might do as a replacement. I still want to kind of brainstorm a little bit more, but that was a good one that you had.
I think we've agreed that we're not going to do a standard episode. We do want it to be some sort of a retrospective game. We could do like a tier list or something. I think those are very popular and clickable, like top 10 of movies and comics and TV and audio dramas that we've covered and all that. But we could go a little bit more creative with it. We'll see.
Yeah.
If we did it once, we can do it again.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. And I since we have the list that we had made written down, I guess our idea for episode 300 that first time was we have we have multiple lists all equaling up to about 300 things. It could be our favorite comics. It could be the most colorful things we watched on the review show, our best sad sack characters, the best crossovers that didn't happen, all based around stuff that we watched or read or listened to over on the review show. So maybe we can reuse that content somehow.
We'll just save it for episode 400 and then we'll add new stuff to it. We just got to jump on episode 400 is all we did.
Though I do think based on some of our lists, we should start adding stuff like that into our Grand Prix, our end of the year Grand Prix. I think some of the lists that we had was like, I like that one. Maybe we can do that a little more often. So good stuff with all of that. Melissa, you just moved to a new office in your new job. It's kind of a coincidence because Rachel also had a similar experience. They just like moved her like what building they were in, and they pulled just the stupidest way they could move them. They like separated the team, and there's another team in between their team. And it's just like, why didn't you move this team over here and just put everyone right there? This makes no sense.
Wow.
So.
When you said the stupidest way you could move them, I'm like, they put Rachel in a crate like the prisoner trying to escape the island.
I almost said the word shenanigans, and then I opted not to.
This is the stupidest way to move us. Why did you hire clowns? They can't move any boxes. They keep tripping over their big clown shoes. A bad idea. Should have hired just a professional moving company and not a circus.
Good Lord.
Why is there a monkey here? Yes. I took a new job earlier this year, left the world of publishing. I now work for a wealth advisor's practice. The head the headquarters of our the headquarters is called a firm.
Sure.
Our branch is not a firm. There's a
You're an
distinction. We're a soft.
You're an infirmary.
I've learned that headquarters can be a firm. We can be described as a practice, a team, or an ensemble.
Ooh.
And I like ensemble.
Yeah.
So I work for a wealth advisor's ensemble. We are moving offices. Thankfully, I already knew we were going to move offices when they hired me, so I never even brought anything to the office I was at.
No decorations.
I had like 3. No, just a couple pens.
Yeah.
A chapstick I had to move. But they planted me at the new office. There's like 4 overlap days where we're getting stuff in the new office and out of the old office. And they planted me at the new office because we'd already legally changed our address. So we were going to start getting mail and packages there. And there were all sorts of different contractors and vendors and all sorts of people showing up. And they needed somebody to consistently be there. So our new office, it's bespoke for us. It's a beautiful space, but it is huge. It's got this sort of labyrinthine hallways, and it's all painted like bright white with the intention that we will then add a lot of local art to the walls later.
Right, yeah.
But for right now, before we put anything up, it's such a severance space.
That's what I was just about to say. Right.
Seemingly endless, blindingly white hallways. And I keep forgetting. You don't really get lost, but you will start down a hallway and you're like, this thing is next, right? And then you're like, no, it's the conference rooms and then the break room. The hallway is so long. There are points where you can stand and see nothing but other hallways.
That's kind of wild.
Like there's sort of turns and angles, but there are blank spots where you can stand and see not a door or window or any sign of life.
For a wellness ensemble, that does not seem productive, intuitive for a wellness.
We do have a whole dedicated wellness room. We really planned this office very intentionally. I think it is very well designed. It's big because we need space to grow.
Right.
We're doing very well. We have 4 conference rooms, so we can meet with a lot of clients at once.
Cool.
We have a whole massive break room where all of us can actually sit down in there at one time. We have a butler's pantry. So I can go in there and make drinks for the clients, and then all of the actual wealth advisors can be in the break room making their drinks before they all sit down for a meeting.
Wow.
So I get all this space to move around.
You guys can hire a butler.
There's lots of storage. I'm the butler. The butler's me. That's my job. I think it is very well designed, but it does lead to, if we need this many rooms, that means there also will be long stretches of terrifying hallway.
Right, yeah.
And I love it. I love to be in a maddening liminal space. This has been a real treat for me the past several days.
So is
I should have taken...
Is it the fact that there's kind of this liminal quality, this liminal space, is that what's so maddening?
Well, there's that. Also, our office has a 10-degree difference from one side of it to the other. It's 68 degrees where my desk is, and then it's 78 degrees in the break room, which is bad.
Yeah,
and at first we're thinking,
it off, right? And then you're freezing.
We want we want everything to be like 72 degrees. And at first we're thinking, this place is so big, it probably has more than one AC unit feeding into it. One of them's got the wrong settings. Then we realize the floor is hot. Why is the floor so hot? So our office sits over like a boiler room. And there's something in there that's supposed to heat the pipes in the winter so that nothing freezes over. but it's like malfunctioning and overreacting, and it's extremely hot the last week of August.
Yeah,
so they have to go. The building has to go in and fix that. They're working on it. It should be fixed very quickly. It is a major problem, but it has been a struggle to, like, if I have to sit at my desk and do like a little bit of normal work, I have to wear a whole jacket. And then if I have to get back to, time to unpack all the dishes in the break room, shed all those layers. Let's go into our sweaty break room where we had to install several box fans just to feel comfortable.
Right. That's awful.
It's being fixed, and at least we know why it's happening now. But it was a real struggle. And there's this beautiful glass-fronted beverage cooler in our butler's pantry. Because we're like, this is not for any actual food. It's just for beverages that we're going to give to clients. There might be like some cream in there for coffee. Let's make it this like beautiful display piece, glass fronted door. We've got those can loaders, like you're at a 7-Eleven or something. You pick one Coke, the next Coke just slides into place.
Right, yeah.
So I don't have to constantly go in and like
rearrange
all the cans so they're all facing the same way. This thing is delivered, whoever's in charge of the construction of the office, they went ahead and set it up. It never got cool enough. It was always warm. And because it was always warm, the machine would beep at you as like a food safety mechanism. Warning.
Yeah.
Not cold enough for food to be safe because they don't know what you're going to put in it. And we couldn't get it to stop beeping. Like there's no button to hit that says, yes, we know you've sufficiently alerted us. You can stop beeping now. It would just keep beeping. It would beep and beep and beep. And it would also never get cold. So we would just have to give up and unplug it to stop the beeping. And then, of course, when you try plugging it in again, it can't get cold when it's unplugged. So it's just the same thing again.
Right. Yeah.
I was on hold with that appliance company for an hour one day. The little robot voice kept saying I was caller number 2. They'd get to me soon. How was I caller number 2 for an hour? What's caller number 1 up to? What's their problem? And so while I'm on hold, I am also trying to like use the digital chat assistant on their website to get somebody to help me that way. And then I do get a hold of somebody that way. And they're like, well, are the lights coming on? Do you hear a vent? Do you hear like the air compressor going? They're trying to walk me through troubleshooting it. And they're like, okay, we think you need like a new circuit board piece. We'll mail it to the office. Then it gets lost and we can't find it. Oh. Then we find it. Then we have to like schedule an appliance person to like come in and actually install it and repair the thing. And like our senior partner is a tech guy. He's an old school computer nerd and he picks it up and he's like, I think I could do this. And we're like, don't do that. You're going to void our warranty. Put it down.
Yeah.
Finally, an appliance repairman arrives. He comes in, he takes one look at the fridge, and he's like, your door's upside down.
Was it the actual door that was installed upside down, or was the whole thing upside down?
What it was is there's a magnet that's the magnet on the door that's supposed to click into a magnet in the fridge.
Sure.
And tell the computer, magnets are touching, door is sealed, let's get cold. And they put the magnet at the top of the door instead of at the bottom of the door. At the bottom of the door is where it's supposed to click into the main system and the computer. So all this guy had to do was just unscrew the magnet, screw the magnet in somewhere else.
Oh my God.
It was fixed in 10 minutes.
Oh my God. That is maddening. Good Lord. That's a nightmare. Yeah, it's just, you just have to move the magnet. That's all.
At least it was a quick solution. Now we have other things we also need fixed. Like we have a whole dishwasher that doesn't work. So I have to do 2 rooms worth of dishes and only 1 dishwasher. and then put all the dishes on a little cart and then wheel them into the other room. There's so much stuff to unpack. We were surrounded with boxes. The movers came in. There were times when it's like, here are the movers. Also, there's somebody here to install the smart boards. And there's the refrigerator repairman. And here comes the janitorial team. There's like 5 different vendors coming in and out that I have to coordinate all at once. We got all these boxes in. Thankfully, there were just a couple of us in the office on Friday because the internet wasn't quite a sure deal when we first moved in. So they're like, everybody work from home. We just need a couple people to get things set up at the new office.
Right. Yeah.
And thankfully, like 5 of us were able to blow through a bunch of boxes, at least get our break room up and running so we can go in and like make food and drinks while we're working. We have like several more days to unpack stuff. It's a while before we're back to normal business and we have client meetings again. Somebody else from our office tower, some company on a higher floor, sent somebody down to welcome us. And she brought a beautiful orchid and she brought 24 little crumble cookies. She was so nice. And I felt so bad saying, there's only 4 of us here. You should not have done this yet. I'm going to put these cookies in the fridge. I hope they last until after Labor Day when the rest of the team arrives.
Right, yeah. It's like, most of our team isn't here yet. So sorry. I'll eat as much as I can. But
Exactly. Yes. Gotta make sure the cookies don't go to waste. They're expensive little cookies. But I'm like, why did you think we were like at full operational capacity like 2 days after we got here?
Yeah, I don't know.
You can look in. We have beautiful glass doors. You know what a mess this is. You know we're covered in boxes. We just brought all of our potted plants from the old office to the new office and just corralled them in the front until we decide, like, what are we keeping? Where does it go? What are we replacing? What needs a new planter, et cetera, et cetera. So there's just like a jungle up there.
Yeah.
You know we're not ready.
That's so funny. Well, speaking of jungles, I was down in the Everglades, kinda. Not really. I was down in Tampa.
Tell me about Tampa. I've never been.
Yeah, Tampa was interesting. I liked it a lot. So I stayed just outside of Tampa in the like Clearwater area. If anyone out there listening knows, actually just went to the dentist and they said the exact same thing of like, oh, I've been to Tampa. I stayed in the Clearwater area, and I was like, that's exactly where I was. Yeah, we went. I went down there for a bachelor party. My old roommate is getting married in October, and there was a handful of us that went down there for a long weekend, just to kind of go on an adventure. And we went kayaking one morning. We played some disc golf, which was my first time playing it. We experienced a little bit of the nightlife, all of that good stuff. We went to the beach. The first night that we got there on like a Thursday afternoon. And of course, the first thing we start doing when we get there is start drinking. Because the Airbnb place that we had was a fantastic place. They had one of those like giant dinner tables that you could take the top off of, and it was a pool table underneath.
Whoa!
So we
perfect for bachelors.
We could play some billiards. They had a giant like 100 something inch television in that. Just a huge TV.
That's what they install on the outside of buildings. To say,
but it's on the
inside. This is who's playing our casino lounge coming up soon. Stop in.
Yeah. And then they had a great kitchen. It had a pool out back. And like we each had our own bedroom. And
nice
stuff like that. I got the one with the private bathroom, so I lucked out with that one.
Why you?
So there's one bedroom with like the king size bed, and of course we gave our bachelor like, you can pick any room you want. This is obviously the one with the king size bed, so if you want the biggest bed, maybe this one. But then there was another one, similar size room, but just had a queen size mattress in that. Then there were two rooms that had two queen size mattresses in each of them. And the one that I happened to pick also had a private bathroom, which we didn't even see until I got in there and was like, oh, I have my own bathroom. Hey, look at that. But yeah, we had a great time. Friday morning, we were a little hungover, obviously. But we were supposed to go to like Pier 60, I believe is the place that it was called, and do some fishing. But we were a little slow moving, so we didn't get there in time for fishing. So we just kind of hung out on the beach and got some food and stuff like that. But then it was Saturday morning is when we went kayaking. And we were a lot less hungover Saturday morning, but we were still a little slow getting out, leaving. And then once we did, we realized we didn't put gas in the rental car yet. So we were real low on gas. So we had to take time to put some gas in the car. And then once we got back on the road, we realized we were going the wrong direction. So we had to call this place and be like, hey, we're running a little bit late. We've got turned around on the roads. We needed to put gas in the car. We were already running a little bit late, just regularly. We just wanted to give you a heads up that we're on our way. And they responded with, well, technically we have a 15-minute late policy because these people have to, like, you're not the only ones on the tours, and they have to start it or they won't get back in time for the next one. And like, you can't just like go out there on your own to try and catch up, right? So if you're not there within 15 minutes of your start time, sorry, you're out of luck. And so we ended up, like, that was the official word from on high, but then our actual tour guide called us and was like, hey, so technically I'm not supposed to let you in if you're 15 minutes late, obviously, but you're not the only ones running late. So there's someone else who will be here in like 5 minutes. If you can get here in 10 minutes, I'm not going to say anything because I can stall them a little bit. And I can also like put them on the kayaks real slowly. But when you get here, like, make sure you park here and then run down to the dock, and that's where I'll be. And yeah, we made it just in time. We slipped her some cash. Our
very nice
tour guide, just like, thank you so much, because this would suck if we went all this way. It was like 40 minutes away from where we were staying. So but yeah, we went out there, we had a blast. The tour like wasn't really, we didn't like go to super interesting places, but the tour was good. It was basically just a straight shot. But about halfway in, we saw a crab trap, so we got to see a little, like a handful of crabs. But then just happened to be right next to it. I think our tour guide stepped on it, and that's why she knew it was there. We saw an underwater snail in this like giant football-sized conch shell.
Whoa.
It was like, if you've never seen one, imagine Gary from SpongeBob. But this guy had this big old conch shell that was covered in all kinds of like crustaceans and stuff like that. But like the snail itself was like bright neon orange. That was neat, and we got to take pictures with it and hold it and all that good stuff. We saw these bright pink that we thought were flamingos, but they weren't. They're called spoonbills. These birds that were out there. We got to see a dolphin. It was like a mama dolphin and its child. Spoonbill bird.
A dolphin?
Bright pink. Yeah, there were dolphins out there.
Wow.
It did not come up to us. It was still a ways away, but it was still neat to be like, hey, look, it's a dolphin. Oh my God.
These spoonbills are both glamorous and goofy. Right. I really like them.
Yeah. But then there were also these birds. I don't remember what they were called, but the tour guide was telling us that they had figured out that if they stick near the kayakers on the tours and stuff, since parts of the water weren't super deep, our paddles would like rustle up the, I guess, like seaweed and sea grass that was underneath us, and all the fish that lived inside them would start to come up and out, and the birds could then like dive in and get the fish that they need. So there were birds like right next to us, like 5 feet away, like swooping in and like eating fish and stuff like that, which was fantastic. But yeah, they took us to a little island where we just got to explore and pick up shells and stuff like that. There was, so I found a shell that was about the size of my palm. Like a perfectly like intact. I don't even know what kind of shell to call it. Think of like the shell.
Is it like a bra shell?
Gas station logo. Yeah, that shell. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like fit the size of my palm. But then there was another girl on our tour who found a gigantic sand dollar, like the size of my face.
Wow.
Yeah, just absolutely huge. And she was stoked about that. I think that person too, when I had talked to our tour guide and I was like, yeah, most of us are all from Virginia. That's where I grew up most of my life, but I've been living out in Oklahoma. And she goes, oh, I think someone else on our tour mentioned Oklahoma. And so she was like, yeah, hey, you with the sand dollar. She was like, you were from Oklahoma, right? She goes, yeah, I just moved here to Florida from Tulsa 2 weeks ago. And I was like, hey, I'm in OKC. That's where I've been. So
let's talk about onion burgers,
right?
And the Flaming Lips and other Oklahoma things.
Yeah, just Walmart or Sam's Club, whatever one started
Quick
here.
Trip.
Right? Yeah. So that was fun, and yeah, we got to swim in the Gulf of Mexico, stuff like that there at the island. Then we made our way back. And then let's see, what did we do after kayaking? We wanted to go to the Dali Museum, the Salvador Dali Museum, but we didn't get to make it out there.
Why is that in Tampa?
I don't know. I don't know if he had some affiliation to Tampa or some person was a collector maybe out there. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case and they just had a lot of his artwork or something there. But we did not make it out there. So
I want to stop you. I've tried to look up biggest sand dollar, and while there's not an official Guinness World Records page, I'm seeing just a lot of various news reports. The biggest one I'm seeing is like 6.5 inches. See, who knows?
I mean, yeah, that's like size of my, like, not wingspan, but like finger span. Like,
you might have found one that was
face
just as up there. Maybe the new world record winner if you would have taken it to unofficial.
Who knows? But yeah, then I mean, we got some great food and stuff at multiple places. But on the last nights we went out on the town. We went to this place that was a bar with all kinds of like outside games and stuff like that. Like they had they have like cornhole and stuff like that you would expect, but they also had a section that was like an outdoor giant size beer pong with volleyballs and trash cans. They just got like red plastic trash cans. So you could do stuff like that. They had a DJ playing music. I think earlier in the day they had like some kind of water games that we just missed, like a slip and slide for people, stuff like that. They had more billiards tables. They had like giant sized Jenga and Connect 4 stuff. So we went to go get some drinks there. When we did, we met someone who was having a birthday, and we got them some drinks and stuff like that. Said happy birthday. We eventually went on our way. We stopped in another bar called Poor Decisions. But they were a craft shop bar. Instead, they had cocktails that you could do, but their shot list was huge, and they was all like mixed stuff. And our Bachelor earlier on in the trip had some THC infused nerds ropes that he and one of the other people were taking, and it did some damage to them. It was very potent. And so it kind of became a joke to say like, hey, you want some more nerds rope? And he'd be like, no, thank you, I'm good. This craft this craft shop bar, their most popular shot was called the Nerd Rope. So we had to get a round of nerd ropes, which was a mix of like watermelon and apple and strawberry liqueur and vodka and all sorts of stuff, with sugar on the rim. It was fantastic. Not one that I think I would want in an actual cocktail just because of how sugary it was, right? But for just like a quick shot, it was just like, oh yeah, that was fantastic. So we did that, and we were planning on just being like, all right, this will be our last stop, and then we'll head back home because we have to fly back home in the morning. And then as we were walking out of that bar, we hear, hey, it's you again. It's like, it's the birthday girl. Hello. How are you? And they were like, join us for one more. And we were like, all right, fine. Yeah, sure. Why not? Like, we're not going to be in Tampa much longer. So the place that we were at, they have like, it's like the whole block is just bars on like all sides. So we were walking around the corner. They even had one that's they had a station for like outside. You didn't have to go in, but you could get a shot from like outside of just like, hey, all I want is a shot. You didn't have to go in there. So we stopped at that. We got these, or the girls got these like blueberry cheesecake shots. And they were actually delicious. I don't know what was in it, but it was fantastic. And then, yeah, we went around the corner to one more bar, and we had some drinks with them. And then we were like, all right, we're flying out tomorrow morning, so we kind of need to go now. Have fun. Enjoy the rest of your night. But that was it. That was my trip to Tampa. It was a blast.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it was good. It was fun.
Cool place to pick. Never known much about Tampa. They got those Buccaneers there.
They sure do. Yeah. The whole area is pretty touristy. since they have the beach there and just hotels galore, and stuff like that. But yeah, it was good time indeed. Well, do you want to wrap up here with our lightning round?
Yes, all of this is news to me, so you're going to have to provide the information.
Pop culture lightning round. So 3 quick things here. I'm a big fan of the Peaky Blinders show on Netflix. I believe I don't remember if they have like one more season coming out or not, but they are working on a movie.
That show's how old is that show? I feel like I've been hearing about Peaky Blinders for most of my adult life.
Right. It's a fantastic show, but when your main star is Cillian Murphy, right, like you kind of got to work around his schedule.
Okay, this started in 2013. It has had 6 seasons.
Yes, yeah. And they are working on a movie, I think, to wrap everything up. And they just cast Barry Keoghan, I believe is how you say his last name, to be in that. So he's a fantastic actor. I like him a lot, and I like Peaky Blinders. So that's good news for me.
Great news for me too. I love that little weirdo. I'll watch him in anything.
Yeah. And then for Star Wars fans, The Mandalorian and Grogu is the movie spinning off of The Mandalorian. And Sigourney Weaver has been cast in that. I'm not sure exactly what her role will be, but always good to see Sigourney Weaver in something.
You know, she's been to space a number of times.
Oh, yeah.
Alien.
She's no rookie to space adventures and aliens, yeah.
Avatar.
So we'll get to
Galaxy
see her on
Quest.
the Star Wars side of things. Yeah. And then last but not least, Joel McHale has been cast in season 3 of Yellowjackets.
Any details on whom?
I haven't really looked into if there's other details in there yet.
It's your job to look.
But the announcements that I was seeing wasn't giving any kind of like, and he's playing this character's uncle or this boyfriend or this survivor, or I guess not survivor. But when you wrote down this blurb with no context, I did think about him, and I'm like, what's Joel McHale good at? He's good at wearing glasses, and he's good at being real severe. I could see him playing menacing. Yeah.
I could see him in a flashback playing Misty's dad. We've never really seen Misty's family. He's a lighter-haired fella. I'd love to see him do the same thing where he pushes his glasses up. He'd be very good at that.
Yeah. That'd be a great way to say that he is Misty's dad if you don't know like who he's playing yet, right? And he does the glasses thing. You're just like, oh yeah, I see it. I know who he is. Let's see, Joel McHale, Yellowjackets. Pulling up the article from Variety. In guest star role. So I don't know if he's going to be a recurring role or not. No premiere date for season 3 yet. Official description. That's all the stuff that like we already know. Let's see. Oh, this was a lame article. Yeah, there's no details here of who or what. Just the fact that he has been cast.
I'd love if he played what and not a who. I don't know. He's playing a spooky tree.
Right. I don't know, but that's exciting to me. I think the way when we saw him in The Bear season 1 and in season 3, he has this presence. This he could almost do the Kubrick stare, just be this real intense kind of silent character, which would be interesting amongst this cast that are just kind of wacky and goofy amidst all this horrific stuff, right? Like even Misty, as scary as she is in this, is just kind of a goofball, right?
Big dork.
with her bird named Caligula, all of that stuff. Even Elijah Wood's character is just eccentric, right? Like it'd be interesting to see someone who is a little more straight-laced and reserved in like the quiet scary of just like, what is he up to? I don't know. Who knows? But that's it. That's our pop culture lightning round. That's all the stuff that I saw,
Nice.
at least that caught my eye. So good stuff there. Melissa, let's wrap things up right there because we got to record the Pilots Club right after this. So where can the people find you on the interwebs?
You can just send me an email the old-fashioned way. Drop me a line at yourhostmelissa@gmail.com.
There you go. If you guys want to follow me, I am at Yo Kyle Springer. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the stuff that we do here at the Whatnauts, we are at the Whatnauts Official on Threads. So please go like, share, and subscribe. You guys know the deal with all of that. If you're watching this on YouTube, more videos over there, that side of the screen. That would help us out a ton as well. But yeah, this has been number 280 of the Whatnauts Captain's Log. We will see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.